Hello, the purpose of this video is to show how it was fulfilled and implemented based on the tasks that were requested. For the point 1, I'm going to explain the architecture DDD pattern in .NET 6. Well, for the DDD architecture, we must separate the infrastructure from the domain so we can have an infrastructure that accesses our database. For example, here we have a database in mongodb that is installed in one of the dockers. So when we can use generic methods for data manipulation. As we can see, the create, delete, update is a generic repository. Also, we have the repository for specialized entities. For example, here we have the get by name, get by ID, get customers. That is for the entity customers. For the domain layer, we have the interfaces, the entities, and contracts. In interfaces, we have the interface for generic methods and for custom methods. Also, the interface for the entity. In entities, we have the class customer, and in contracts, we have a customer validator where we are using a Fluent validation. And finally, we have the web API that we must use for our Angular application. Here we have all the methods that we are going to need for our web application. We have the create, the update, delete, and the get. And with that, we have the point 1 checked. For the point 2, we must implement a CRUD application using Angular and Fluent validation. To show you that, we're going to start our Docker. There we have. And also we have to start our Angular application. There it is. So we have our web application using Angular, and with this basic application we can add, edit, and delete over this data that we are saving in our Mongo database that is hosted in our Docker. Okay, I'm going to show you the CRUD operations. I'm going to create a new row. And with this, I'm going to show you the Fluent validation. We have the customer validator. Customer validator where we are validating the minimum length, the maximum length, and an email address. So it is okay. We can continue and create the new row. So there we have. We're going to select and delete. We're going to edit. There we have. Now I'm going to show you my code where we have our service. Right here we have the URL that we are using for our API, all the CRUD methods. Also we have our components for every method, and our HTML. So this is a clear code and basic. With this we have the point 2 check it, and also I showed the overview with a grid. So point 3 is check it. Now for the point 4, the application should be startable with a Docker Compose and checkable. So to show you that, I need to stop my standalone Docker, and also I'm going to stop the Docker Compose because I have two Dockers, one standalone for a web API and another Docker Compose for web API and MongoDB. It is stopping. We can check it in our Docker desktop. Here we have. I'm going to stop this one. Now we have the Docker Compose stopped. So I'm going to run it again. You can check it in our Docker desktop and also in our Docker viewer in the Visual Studio. It is important to take into account that the MongoDB is hosted in the Docker Compose. To show you that, I'm going to connect my MongoDB Compass to the Docker Compose. There we have. So my DB, my table customer. There we have the data that we were manipulating with my Angular web application. So with this, it's checkable that I'm using Docker Compose for this example. So the point 4 is check. And finally, for the point 5, the repository should have a Git history. So we can check it right here. And our Team Explorer, my Git repository. We have all the commits that I did it, and also we can see it in my GitHub repository. So I will give you the access for this. This is public, so you can download my code and my repository that is in MongoDB, and you can test it. So with this, the point 5 is checked, and the point 6 is what you are going to see. And thanks again for your time, for giving me the opportunity to show you my skills. Thanks.